Hi there, Hyundai owners. Today in your 2020 Hyundai Palisade, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Stealth Hitches hitch system. These are available with either a base hitch option or a tow package hitch option. And this is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. Now you're probably wondering, well where is it? It's hidden completely behind our bumper, and there are different receivers and ball mounts that will insert right here into the bottom. Let's go ahead and head into the shop now so I can get it up on the lift just to make it easier for our cameraman to get some visuals of what's going on underneath here. Our attachments simply just push right into place, and there is a handle on one side here that when rotated will allow whatever's in there to release and just drop right down. What I really like about it is how easily it is to get your components installed. You simply just line it up, push it in place until it locks it in. It is recommended by the manufacturer to always lock the system after you insert it. So on one side you'll have a lock. You can see here I've got it currently in the unlocked position with the center pushed out. To lock it, just push that in, you're locked in place, and I can't twist the handle on the other side now. You can maybe twist it a tiny amount, but it's definitely not going to come off of there like it was before. You'll receive 2 keys included with your kit. So you'll have one to keep with you and one for a backup. When you go to unlock it, the center springs back out, and we can now twist our handle all the way to get it released. When you're not using any of your accessories, and you want to maintain that factory look, we have a dust cap that does come included with your kit. You can just poke that in the bottom there, and that'll help keep out any dirt and debris to ensure long-lasting, smooth operation of your components. You also have a dust cap here for your lock mechanism as well to protect that from the elements. So our lock kind of acts as a dual purpose. It's a secondary for the latch that holds us in to ensure it's going to stay in place, but it also offers us protection for our components here, so nobody can just come over and walk off with our receiver. One of the things you'll notice when you are using this is that when you lock your accessory in place, whether it's your receiver or your ball mount, the handle will rotate counterclockwise, and this little piece here I can feel is kind of pointed directly at me. When I go to release it and you turn it, you'll hit a point where it kind of clicks, and it actually stays. You see how that stays up now? It didn't return forward. So that means we're in the release position. It stays in that release position. When I go to lock it back in, you'll see that handle snap back shut. And now we know it's held in place. That's just another thing you can use as a guide to ensure your receiver's in place all the way. Now we've gone over kind of the main features on how you use your hitch here, but I did want to mention that there are a lot of different packages available for your vehicle. You could get just the base hitch, which will give you the receiver here as well as the cross tube that attaches to the vehicle. But what I want to point out, if you have just this base package here, it is only designed to be used with accessories. This receiver is not rated for towing. It's great though if you have bike racks that you want to use, or cargo carriers if you do a lot of camping but you don't haul a trailer, then this would be all that you would need. If you do want to do some towing with your hitch, you could either purchase the full tow package kit, which comes with a ball mount, which is rated for towing, as well as the necessary wiring that you need for the lights on your trailer. Or if you decided that you don't need it now, but maybe later on down the line that you want the towing options, you can get just the tow package upgrade, which will come with your ball mount and your wiring and everything you need to upgrade your hitch to a towable model. One of the things you'll see here that we have on it is safety chain loops, and these only come with the tow package. So if you purchase just the base kit with the receiver, you will not get any safety chain loops, because really they're unnecessary with just the base kit since you're not going to tow with it anyway. This system offers a 600-pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of our receiver. It also features a 7,500-pound gross towing capacity. And one of the things you want to keep in mind for this one really is just that tongue weight of 600 pounds, which is going to be more than enough for really anything that you would ever want to use in the receiver. because we can put a bike rack in here and load it up with 4 bikes, no problem, as well as just about any cargo carrier, slap it in here and load it up to the max as well. It does use a 5/8 inch hitch pin and clip to get any accessories mounted to it. One doesn't come with it, but you can pick one up at etrailer.com here. Since the hitch is locking for your receiver, I would recommend getting a locking hitch pin to protect your investments. Now, as always, I recommend that you verify in your vehicle's owner's manual and ensure you don't exceed any of its towing capacities. The entire assembly is made of high-grade steel. Our receiver end, as well as our cross tube, has a black powder coat finish on it to help protect it against rust and corrosion and ensures a long-lasting, appealing finish. But what's even more impressive is the mechanism that's located between the cross tube and our accessories, or receiver tube here. The block here is constructed of stainless steel, so this way we don't have to ever worry about rust or corrosion getting inside of the unit, making it difficult to install and remove our accessories. I really like that they took the time and effort to ensure that a component as critical as this was upgraded to stainless steel, so that way 10 years down the road from now, you're not having to get up in there and clean out all the rust that would likely be there if it was made of something else. Now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on accessories. We're doing this with the receiver insert in, as this is what you'll be using with those accessories. From the center of the hitch pin to the edge of our rear bumper, it's about 3 inches. And this is important when determining if any of your folding accessories can be placed in the upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube, it's about 13.5 inches. This is important when determining if you need a drop, a rise, or a raise shank on any of your accessories. Now that we've gone over some of the features of our hitch here, let's go over the installation together so you can have the confidence to do it at home. We'll begin our installation at the back of the vehicle by lowering down our spare tire. To lower it down, you gain access to the compartment here at the back. Just lift it up, and you'll find a cover that you just unscrew. There's a little slot in the middle. You can use your fingernail or stick a screwdriver down in there, however you need to. We're just going to take that off, and we can loosen this bolt here, which will then drop down the tire. We'll use a 21mm socket to drop it down. As you unscrew it, the tire should be dropping down below. We're just going to go down until it hits the ground, and then we'll pick up on it, take out the anchor that holds it up, and we're just going to set it aside. We're now underneath the vehicle. You can see our spare tires out of our way. We're going to lower down our exhaust now, but before we do that, we're going to put a strap in place to protect us from lowering it down too far. So we're just going to hook it on each side here, tighten our strap up just to support it, and then there are 3 hangers. There's one here in the center, one at the rear of the vehicle, and then one just at the front side of your muffler. To take those off, we'll spray some spray lubricant on there. Silicone spray will make it much easier to get these removed. And then use your pry bar or a large screwdriver, and you can just get behind it and just pry it off. We're going to repeat that with the 2 remaining hangers. Once you've got the 3rd hanger removed, we can use our strap here to gently lower down the exhaust. We just need to get enough clearance to get our hardware in. So really this is far enough. We can get our hitch lifted up over it, and we can get in here to work. Now on your driver's side, we'll need to lower down the undershield. There are 3 push pins we're going to need to take off on the bottom. Use a flat-bladed screwdriver or a trim panel tool to go between the 2 pieces. You'll see there's kind of like a little slot opening to fit your blade in. And then you can pop out the center piece. And once you pop out the center, the tab will just pull out. We're going to repeat that for these 2. Now there are 2 more fasteners holding the panel on. For these, we're going to use a 14mm socket, and in the cutout areas here, if you go straight up, you'll find 2 plastic nuts. When you're taking these off, it's usually a good idea to give a little bit of downward pressure, as these are they're speed nuts, so they're designed to just be pushed on at the factory. So sometimes they don't want to unthread, but with a little bit of pressure, they will come off. We'll just set this aside. On the bottom of our frame, you'll see that there are 2 holes here. They have weld nuts inside of them, so we're going to clean out our threads there because our hitch is going to bolt into those. Just use a wire brush and some spray lubricant, and this way you can get any dirt and debris out of there that might be in there. This will just ensure that you'll have a better time installing your hardware and one of the bolts aren't going to get caught and hang up and be difficult. We're going to do that on the other side as well. Before we lift the hitch into position, we're going to prepare our hardware. You'll have 6 long bolts that come in the kit. 2 of those are going to be slightly shorter. We want the 4 longest bolts. They're longer by maybe 1/4 or 1/2 of an inch. Take those 4 longest bolts and place a flat washer on them. This way you're not having to fight getting your washers on there while holding the hitch up. So now we got these 4 prepared. We're going to grab ourselves an extra set of hands to help us hold the hitch up and get this installed. Now we'll lift our hitch to position. You want to raise it up over your exhaust, and then the angle here is going to fit on the outside of your frame. Take the bolts that we prepared and slide those through the outside of your hitch and through the frame towards the inside. Once you've got 1 bolt in on each side, the hitch will hold itself up, making it easier to install the rest of your hardware. Here's the other side of the bolts that we just pushed through the frame. We're going to finish those off with another washer and then a nylon locking nut. We're just going to leave them loose at this time, so we're just going to get all this hardware loosely installed on the 3 remaining bolts. We're now going to install our lower hardware into the frame. There's a spacer that needs to go in place between your hitch and the bottom of the frame. You'll see here that it has some holes cut out. We need to line those up with the holes in our hitch, and you'll also notice how they're offset. So the one that's closer to the edge here, we want to put that towards the rear of the vehicle, and we also want it to be offset on the closer edge here, closest to the center of the vehicle. So it's going to end up going in like this. And it is a little bit tight. You might have to kind of push your hitch up and down and wiggle it a little bit just to get it to fit in there. We're going to get the holes lined up. Okay. Once you've got them lined up, we'll take the smaller bolts that come in our kit. We're going to place on a lock washer, followed by a flat washer. And then we're just going to go into those holes and thread them into those factory weld nuts. Once we get both in on this side, we're going to repeat this same process over on the other side. We can now go back and tighten down our hardware. We want to start with the lower bolts first. We're going to use a 17mm socket to tighten those down. And then you'll want to torque the lower hardware to the specifications found in your instructions. And now we can go back and tighten and torque down the side bolts using a 19mm socket and wrench. And then we're going to go back and torque those to the specifications found in our instructions. With all of our hardware torqued down, we can lift our exhaust back into position. We're going to use some spray lubricant again to make it easier to get our hangers pushed back on. And we just simply have to lift it up. This one here is going to be a little tricky due to how close the exhaust is and the hanger is to the hitch there. So I recommend doing this one first while you've got the most movement out of your exhaust as possible. So we're going to have to push it towards the front of the vehicle a little bit. And then we can get that to slide in. From there, we're just going to slide on the rest of the hangers and push them in place. They go on rather easily. We can now put the mechanism in that's going to hold our receiver. This simply just slides in between the bracket at the center of your hitch. And then we're going to take the bolts that come in our kit. We're going to slide them from the handle side through the hitch, through our mechanism, and then on the opposite side, we're going to put a nylon locking nut onto it. We're going to do the same thing with the other hole here. And then we can tighten those down using a 19mm socket and wrench. And then we can torque the hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. We can go ahead and put our panel back up. It simply just pushes in place on the plastic nuts here. They are speed nuts, so just line up the nuts with the studs up top, and they just push up. And then our push pins will line up with the holes. We just reinsert those and push in the center to lock it down. And that completes our look at Stealth Hitches hitch system on our 2020 Hyundai Palisade.